Hi, Nikola. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes,
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thanks.
Uh,
Happy to
I'm
see
sorry.
you.
Nice to see you. Just to
Um, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, just to make my monitor is something. It's not working good, but now it's okay. I'm sorry.
It's it's perfectly fine. Before we get started, let me give a quick. Let's get out of the other stuff. So just as you probably already gave consent, just wanted to make sure this meeting is recorded, and just wanted to ask for your consent again to record this. This will help improve the overall discussions and maybe some focus areas overall. So, yeah, are you okay
Yeah,
with that still?
yes, yes, of course.
Okay, perfect. So let me go on. I have also a small thing, logistical thing that to get out of the way, and then we can get started. I didn't get a chance to upgrade to Zoom Premium, so it might be a situation that after 40 minutes the meeting will get completely dropped.
Mhm.
And I just want to, please, you can log in again and we can continue session there. You just use the same link. So just jump back right in for us to continue whenever it stops. But I will just give you a brief, note whenever we reach that point.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, cool. Thanks. A few things that I wanted to mention. As you know, QA Pillars team empowers QA professionals to professional potentials and supports them in identifying different um, uh, gaps in experience in order to build a solid portfolio and to be prepared for job opportunities. Therefore, the entire scope of this meeting is basically this one. So we can have a brief discussion. We have an interview, and we can, talk a bit over the main topics that you also identify with the QA pillars team that are important to basically solidify. So we are going to talk about test plan, test execution, and regression testing.
Yeah.
Um, but briefly, let me give you a few words about myself. So my name is Nikola Alchinov, based in Romania. I have around 11 years of experience in total. The last 5 years were in a management position as a hiring manager and as a QA manager, where I worked in a lot of projects, smaller ones, which are like small demos, all the way to complex, big global projects, from like the beginning, development phase, and all the way to maintenance. So I'm happy to share a bit on my experience and to kind of be here for you in case you have any questions at the end, and if you have any kind of like feedback areas, I definitely can chip in with some conclusions on my own.
Great.
um, okay, cool. So would you like to briefly discuss a bit before jumping into the topics, about your experience? I'm also looking a bit on your CV. So would you like to give a few words related to that part?
Yeah, yeah. So my name is Nikola, and I'm working like quality assurance engineer for more than 3 years, exactly 3.5 years. And till now, I have worked on three bigger projects where I have worked like full time, and all of that was full time jobs, and it was end to end testing and automation testing scripts, working with Cypress. And I have done a lot of smaller projects, smaller like uh, not smaller, but for me smaller, like mobile applications for iOS and Android, and I have done several of them. And it's the mobile applications are based on manual testing only, I'm working only manual testing on them, and for web applications, I'm working both manual and automation testing. And in later now I'm learning Playwright as well because it's a new modern tool, and I'm following the new technologies. So currently, I'm working for a company who owns the lottery website application, and I'm working there like quality assurance for a full time, and also there I'm working manual and automation testing.
Okay. So far in terms of like platforms, mobile and web, which one do you like better, or do you have any preferred platform?
For you think Android and iOS?
No, I think I was just asking between mobile, like both Android, iOS, or web.
Mm. There are things I like more in mobile apps, and there are things more I like in web applications, and that things are on mobile applications. In newest time, we are spending more time on mobile phones, and we think that on mobile phone is everything easier for us, so our mindset is set that on mobile is everything easier and it's faster and all of that, and that's why we all of us we want to work more on mobile instead of the computer, and it is faster on mobile, but it's more transparent and more better on the web applications. And on web applications we have inspect tools, we have a lot of things that we can test them better than the mobile application. So um, there are few things that I like and few things that I don't like in both.
Got it. Okay, cool. It was just, personal question, let's say. I've been exposed to both, so just was just curious.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's great that you can see the value in both of them, and you can see also the value, long-term value in some other things. So yeah, best of luck in learning Playwright. It's very important to be up to date with all of the tools that are used in the industry. So that's great way to maintain your skills and to develop them.
yeah, yeah.
It related to the roles that you have been involved in your experience. Have you been exposed that much to processes and to things like the test plan or a strategy or yeah?
Yeah. For example, for all of the companies that I have worked on, all of the projects I have worked, I'm making my own strategies and test plans. After I review the design, I review the PRD, I review the business strategy of the company and the project, because all projects have different business strategy and different PRDs, and there are different customers and different people using that. So first, when I'm getting in the project, I want to review the design, I want to review the PRD, I want to review the business um, process and all of that things, and so I can make an image in my brain, so I can proceed with reviewing the application and going step by step and creating test plans and test strategies. So
That's great.
so I prefer to start working for a project from the very beginning, because if I start working in the middle, and it's harder. That thing is it's hard, but that's okay also.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, it's easier from the beginning to have your own touch and to be in contact with all of the people involved. Taking something from under development or jumping into a like riding train, let's say, it's a bit more challenging, of course, but at some extent, basically, I would say that, you know, after a while it will become the same thing. So it's still critical to make sure that a test plan is already in place or not. If it's not, then, you know, to contribute to one. And yeah, defining the scope overall and what's needed to be done, it's also very critical. Since we jumped already in this topic, you know, I just wanted to ask you if you can give like a bit more details related to the test plan. So I understood the fact that it's very important to define basically the scope. Got that. Define the milestones and delivery dates, target dates, deadlines, however do we want to call them, right? And the business, you mentioned the business of the overall product. Anything else you want to take into consideration when drafting a test plan?
So the main thing in the test plan is to describe what that thing need to do. So if I leave from that place, someone else will come after me, so he can read the test plan very good. So he will not lose time on
Mm-hmm.
my test plan. So I think that's the biggest thing in writing test plans. Everything must be clear, and to have clear described steps and what we should we should it's my brain stopped now.
What we should do basically all the time so that we are covered,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
In
yeah,
that
yeah,
direction. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So what else, right? More getting a bit into more detail, right? Can you give some
Yeah.
example of what it means to have like everything well documented and particularly for a QA, let's say, right?
For example, if every application need to have a register page. So if we are testing the register page, we should write down and in detail what the register page should look like. So what should be the design. So we have a name, a surname, and all of that fields. When we enter that fields, what if we leave a blank field, what should be, and all of that steps. Then we are going to the second step. We need the password, an emails, number, and that things. Uh, After that email verification, what we should do, it should redirect us to the home page so we can activate our account and all of that things. If your question was that.
Uh, okay, yeah, it's very specific, but isn't this more of a expected result? So isn't it more of a test case what you're mentioning, or a flow case that would have like an expected result, like having a registration page? What would be, you know, the
So
way to
yeah,
test?
the test
Okay.
case would be you enter the website and you head to the application. If the test case should be approved, you should enter valid credentials and click on proceed. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to be you should receive an email with verification key. When you enter when you click on the verification key, you should be redirected to the home page so you can verify uh, your account. The negative scenario, what should be, you're navigating to the website and you're going to registration page and you're filling up the fields with wrong credentials, not
Mm-hmm.
valid email, or password not matching passwords, or 5 characters instead of 8 characters, and when you click on proceed, you will be stuck there. So you cannot go furthermore for verification.
Okay. So basically, you are now mentioning that we have to be careful on the strategy of what test cases do we run, and how do we run them, and the importance of defining good test cases and having like a good execution test plan in the test execution part, right? Okay, that's good. Perfect. We can jump a little bit later into the test execution discussions. I'm also very curious to learn more about that. But sticking still to the test plan topic, is there anything else you're thinking except the test cases that maybe it should be defined here, or basically that sums it up?
Sometimes in some application, when I can see in the early stages where the application have a weakness, so I'm writing a note there that like a mark that maybe will be a weak spot and a weak place, so we should test that step extra and to be more careful there. So that's
So you
maybe.
mentioned about the potential risk areas, right? Or potential impact areas that are critical for QA perspective.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. That's good. Anything else?
And also when I'm finishing with testing, I want to put all the bigger bugs found in the testing scope and testing cycle. I want to put the major bugs there. So if there are some regression testing, or if we want to reproduce something, we'll have them there. So I want to be everything in one place, and when one QA or project manager or programmer or everyone from the IT, from the development team, can find everything that he needs about the application, about the test plans, test strategies, and weak parts, and everything there.
Got it. Okay, so you're referring mainly to QA metrics at this moment, that it's very important to have a QA metric. And somehow we should expose this metric, on a regular basis per each execution of QA, let's say, or per each sprint or whatever release cycle that the dev team or the entire project team has, right? Okay, cool. Great. Do you have anything else to mention on this test plan? No? Okay, great. Then I would propose to go to the next topic. So next topic we wanted to talk about is the part of the test execution, right? Can you also give a quick intro on, well, let's say, what is a test execution and some more, then you can jump into some details related to that part a bit.
So the test execution, after I'm telling my my way of working, and after I wrote down everything and all of my review, I will put inside a test strategies and test plan. I'm starting with the test execution, following the paths previously defined of mine. So after I'm executing all of that, I want to like I said, to wrote down everything in one specified document. About, for example, I gave the example for the registration page, and if I'm following the positive scenario, and I'm opening a document called positive scenario for a registration page, and I'm feeling all of the bugs or improvements that we can make for the registration page. So I'm taking screenshots and I'm uploading there the screenshots, the notes, the dates, and all of that information's found. And I'm going step by step from the test plan and test strategies, and making that document for all of the major topics, and I'm storing all the informations there. So that's
Okay.
the cycle of that.
Okay. What would you say is the main purpose of a test execution?
I'm sorry, I didn't get.
What would be the main purpose of a test execution? Main scope, main purpose. What would be the why? Why would we do a test execution?
uh, to review that the application is working.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can document everything on a paper or in a document, but if we not have a test execution and someone who will follow that strategies and plans, we have nothing there.
Okay. So you mentioned that you would do like you would take a test strategy of the registration form, and after you have taken a closer look over the scope and everything, whenever you have like a first iteration or a first version to be able to test, you will create the test cases and you will validate them, right?
Yeah.
Let's assume that this will be an ongoing phase, and you will have an iteration of that version. You have a new release. Um, um, can you give a bit more details on the test execution part? If there's anything particular changed or anything new to add related to this part of an ongoing process, let's say?
Yeah, if in the case if we have bugs in that section, bugs that are fixed. So we are going for a regression test in that site. So we are going with regression testing, and first I'm testing for the bugs that are really fixed and they're not something else bugged. And because I in my experience I have one situation where the developer fixed that bug, but one new bug opened on the other side in the same section. For example,
Okay.
if you're going for the design bugs, and if you have a different width or height somewhere from the design, and if the developers fix that height, maybe on the other section we'll have something strange there. So firstly, I'm looking for the bugs that I have reported. If they are fixed, okay, I'm proceeding again for the regression testing for the whole page or for the whole section.
Okay. I have a question for you in the same example that you gave. Let's presume that you do not have a lot of time, right? So you have, for example, a complex project with 3,000 test cases, and we have this scenario that you mentioned where the devs have fixed the section, and you went directly to that problem when you retested, and you found out that well, let's say that the bug was fixed and you need to carry on with additional testing. What would you do? Because let's say you would have one day,
Mhm.
only one day to test the entire application, and you have 3,000 test cases to run.
In that case, I haven't been in that case, honestly, but if happen, maybe I will do only sectional testing, and I will do a regression test on the whole section, and
Okay.
not only on the bugs, because I mentioned I'm testing first the bugs if they are fixed, and then I'm going to the section regression testing. But in this case, if I have no time, I will cut the first testing of the only the bugs, and I will retest the section.
Okay, sounds good. So basically, you are saying that you would make a prioritization
Yeah,
based on your knowledge and based on the scope of the project and the changes that have been made from one iteration to the other, so that
yeah,
you make sure that in the given time, you cover the most scenarios that would be highly impacted by those changes.
yeah, 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 exactly.
Okay, sounds great. I'm stepping a bit back to the phase that you mentioned that you would create the test cases and then executing and emphasizing on the test development, test case creation. Um, can you give some examples on the test design techniques? So what type of techniques you would use for specific test cases that you will create?
Um, Test design techniques.
Yeah, you already mentioned one good example. So you mentioned positive testing, right? That's a
Yeah.
test case
Mhm.
design technique where you just make sure that the happy flow is respected. So are you familiar with other test design techniques? To
Uh,
give an example.
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with the basic ones. So it's a positive, it's a negative scenario. So I think that two techniques are getting more a lot of the application because you're testing the right and the wrong
Mm-hmm.
side of the application. And I'm actually um, sometimes I'm going to only testing the and reviewing what will be with the application if I'm not a QA and if I'm only curious. So
Okay, so from an end user perspective, right?
yeah,
If
yeah,
I
yeah,
if I want to use the app as a user and I want to
yeah,
like it, what should the application do
yeah,
for me to
yeah,
like
yeah,
it, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And there are also positive and negative scenario. If I'm user of with who want to use the application in good way, or if I'm user who want to find something that is wrong with the application and to make something bad with the application. So um, I'm going like an and test user in positive and negative scenarios.
Okay, cool. Um, are you familiar with let's say boundary testing?
Boundary. I
It's
know
also a
that.
test design technique.
Yeah, I know boundary analysis. I was reviewing something, but I forgot that and I missed that.
No worries. So let me give like a quick, it's very straightforward. The boundary, think as a bound, think as a limitation. And
Mhm.
whenever you have, let's say, a requirement that says, this input field would require to only put in a number with, let's say, three digits and no more, then the boundary test would come in and, test not only that the rule is satisfied within the boundary, let's say 1, 2, 3, but it also go
Yeah,
above the boundary to make sure that the negative, exactly like you mentioned, it's exactly like you mentioned before, but the negative path is also respected.
yeah, yeah,
So it's not it may be just a terminology thing, but
yeah,
you already get the point, right?
yeah.
Okay, great. Um, related to the test execution part, can you say more a bit on prioritization of the test cases? Like, for example, how would you prioritize some test cases when you are going to execute something, some a bigger suit, let's say?
Yeah. So for one application, I'm taking what is main for one application to work. So the people can use and the application can make money and all of that things. So
Okay.
I'm making a prioritization that on the register page, on the login page, on the main product of the web application, and on the payment processes. And
Okay.
of course, if there is a direct communication with online team, that should be working all the time, so the clients can reach in every time the customer help desk and all of that things.
Got it.
So
Okay. Let me, yeah,
I think that I'm sorry. I think that we should prioritize the application working and customers using it.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I can give you a small pointer here, it's perfect what you mentioned, right? So the how the application makes money, so monetization part here, if we have an application and we have in-app purchases, then that's really critical to make sure that that works fine. And exactly like you mentioned, business-wise, yeah, we need to keep the customers happy, and whenever whatever is exposed to customer or the customer would see, it's very good to make sure that that is perfectly working. And you touched an important point, right? So the actual application main functions should work. Just a small pointer, you can use functional. So you can use functional from functional testing, non-functional testing. So just mention, from a functional perspective, we need to make sure. So basically everything that is written in the requirements, we need to make sure that that is working,
Yeah.
plus the business side
Yeah.
and so on, right? But you explain it in a different wording, but it's completely fine. Just wanted to have a pointer for you to, use some, let's say, ear-pleasing terminology. But
Clear
you
terminology.
mentioned it very good. So it's nothing that needs to be completed, but rephrased
Yeah.
it a bit to got it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
Uh,
Thanks.
yeah, no worries. Okay, so for the test execution, let's discuss a bit more on this. Maybe on the test execution states. So what would be different states of the test execution of the test cases?
Different states.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
you think statuses?
No. So for example, what would be the status of a test case? You execute the test case, and
Mm-hmm.
then what would be the status for that?
So if the test case is okay and meet the requirements and meet all of the things, so he'll be passed and it will be done. Or if there are bugs, so I'm making like uncheck boxes, so it is done, or it have bugs, or it's back to development, it's in progress, or it's canceled because maybe there is some changes in the logics, changes in the design, and all of that things. So we'll cancel this bug following that test.
Okay, great. And let's step into the, let's say, failed test cases field. This one is a bit more particular. The others are pretty straightforward. If a test case is passed, then we know the functionality is working. But if a test case is failed, what should it have extra to give value to anybody else, even QA, but also, let's say, a program manager or a project manager or whatever?
Why it's failed? So we should put notes, directions, how to reproduce, and screenshots and videos also. So the dev team or the development will have straightforward what she need to do to reproduce that thing to broke down and to take the bug.
Yeah, perfect. Again, one more thing I want to add here, which would be very important to mention. Always, if possible, a failed test case should have a corresponding bug. So if because that's the perfect way to have traceability between test cases, bug, and stories and whatever we have. So it's exactly like you mentioned. If there's no possibility or there's no specific way to add a bug, then just mention everything that you mentioned. But otherwise, that means that we should have an outstanding bug because that test case is failed, and we should have a corresponding bug ID or a link to a bug, and that would be like perfect traceability.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think we covered a lot on the test execution part. If that's okay with you, I would like to move to discussing a bit on the regression part, regression testing. You touched a bit. Maybe we can develop a bit more on that. So
yeah.
perfect. Can you give some definition, or let's say what is in your vision regression testing, and a few words related to that?
So the regression testing is in scope of retesting some part of the application that was tested and found bugs or things that are not working properly there. So the development team go back, fix those things, and the QA team again test that part of the application.
Okay. So we are retesting during a regression testing. We are retesting something that was already flagged as a potential problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about in retesting? We discover some bugs. How do we determine that the newly found bugs in the new test cycle are regression bugs or not regression bugs, let's say regular bugs, or I don't know, but not regression.
The simplest way to find out that if we have different machines or servers for testing, and that branch is there with the regression testing, we can retest the new found bugs on the regression testing. We can regress and we can retest them on the stage or on the production server. So we'll see if they are there. They're older bugs than the regression bugs, and if they are there, so if they are not there, so they're newly bugs.
Okay.
You understand me?
But yeah, I understand perfectly. So you mentioned that basically, if you have the possibility to test this on the older version or the version older build or whatever, if that bug does not reproduce over there, and if this bug reproduces here, then this is a new bug or a regression bug.
That will be if there is on older builds, it will be a new bug.
Okay, and if it's not, and if it's new, it's a regression.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's caused while fixing the new bug that we reported.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But what happens if the new version that you are testing? Oh, sorry. I need to let you know that the 40 minutes will be soon up. So just I'll stop the recording right now.